48 hours after the Atlantic Sharks boys basketball team started their season with a bang, the girls varsity team will look to light up the Shark Tank in a similar fashion. The Lady Sharks came a few minutes away from a district title and made the first round of the 4A state playoffs back in February. However, a tumultuous offseason has seen the departure of the only head coach the Sharks have ever known in George Butts and the scattering of their 2020-21 roster across Volusia County. Charged with rebuilding a team from the ground up, Adrikius Williams steps into the head coach's chair and will lead a group of fresh faces ready to make their mark on Atlantic girls basketball history. Tonight, that task begins in earnest against the Lake Mary Prep Griffins. Live from the gymnasium on the campus of Atlantic High School in Port Orange, Florida, the first girls basketball broadcast of Atlantic High School basketball on MJT Sports Productions of the 2021-2022 season is on the air. Hello and a very warm welcome. My name is Michael Trevillo. Thank you so much for joining me courtside for the first of 3 games in 24 hours here at Atlantic, with the Lady Sharks hosting Lake Mary Prep tonight, facing off against University tomorrow night, as well as the boys hosting Deltona in the second game of a doubleheader at 7:30. Both of those games can be heard right here on MJT Sports Productions. Now, without further preamble, let's talk basketball. The main storyline surrounding the Atlantic Sharks this season will be what they lost. I already mentioned former head coach George Butts, but now the head man at Cavalry Christian. Their entire roster has left as well. Aliana Jones and Lindsay St. Jean have graduated, but top scorer and Daytona Beach News Journal first team all-area selection Kiana Bean moved across Port Orange to Spruce Creek. Top defender Yeshaya Yisrael is now at local powerhouse Mainland, and Tristan O'Berry, Vanessa Spada, and promising sophomore center Kylie Isaac followed Coach Butts to Cavalry. In the wake of the movement, it will be an all-new group taking the floor this season at Atlantic. Unfortunately, I will not have time to play you my interview with Adrikius Williams. I will get to that at halftime. We talked about his expectations for this season about an all-new group taking the floor for Atlantic High School this year. He mentioned to me that none of them had played organized basketball before tonight. We've got bowlers, track and field athletes, softball players trying to come together and make something of themselves and representing the Atlantic Sharks. Tonight's opposition comes in the form of the Lake Mary Prep Griffins. The Griffins have an 0-3 record with defeats to Father Lopez, St. Joseph Academy, and Masters Academy. However, that court experience gives head coach Christina Harold's side a distinct advantage in this contest. The Sharks will have to be wary of shooting guard combo Caroline Hubbard and Jandy Wynn, as well as Henriette Lepping in the paint. We are moments away from kick tip-off here at the Shark Tank. Let's send it down to public address announcer and boys basketball coach Justin Valajo.
Now, let's meet your starters for tonight. First, for the visitors, the Lake Mary Griffins. Number 2, Nicole. Number 4, Carolina. Number 5, Katie. Number 10, Jamie. And number 13, Leilani. Now, let's meet your starters for tonight.
An emphatic announcement of the starting lineups from boys head coach Justin Valajo. His Sharks obviously winning against Titusville on Monday night. Starters are on the floor. I'll run through them for you one more time. For the Lake Mary Rams, it's Nicole Gorman, Carolina Hubbard, Katie Amatrone, Jandy Wynn, Leilani Barnes. That's the 5 for the Griffins. And for the Sharks, it's Essence Wallace, Neray Ivy, Aaliyah Jones, Madison Ronizo, and Ashton Grant. Sharks in the home white. Blue, teal numbers, black trim. Teal numbers with black trim. Sharks across the front of the chest in teal with white and black trim. It's all black for the Griffins from Lake Mary with gray numbers, white trim, and the Lake Mary word mark in the upper left-hand shoulder, also in gray with white trim. We are now just awaiting the referees to get this one underway. It's going to be Madison Ronzio to jump it for the Sharks. She will jump against Nicole Gorman, and let's play basketball. The Sharks win the tip. They attack the basket to listeners right, going right into the paint, throwing up a shot that's no good, and tapped out of bounds. It'll be Lake Mary prep ball. On the shot, that was Aaliyah Jones. Full court press from the Sharks, just like we saw under George Butts for so many years. Lake Mary gets it across the time stripe. Nicole Gorman controls high right wing side. Back to the middle for Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard works it to the corner, hands it off. Driving inside now is Hubbard. She puts a running layup up with the left hand. That's no good. Battle for the rebound. Contesting it is Grant for the Sharks, and a travel is called against Lake Mary's Katie Amatrone as she walked with the basketball trying to put up a second chance opportunity. Bounce pass goes in and the Sharks control the ball. It'll be Ashton Grant, the sophomore, running the point. She skips across the time stripe and comes to rest at the top of the key, throws it all the way across to the left-hand corner and over the head of Essence Wallace, the only senior in this starting group. There are only one of the two seniors in this starting group and the only two seniors on the team, the other one being Madison Ronzio. So it'll be Lake Mary prep with the ball, no score. 45 seconds gone by in the opening quarter. Pass into the lane, up and good with the left hand for Nicole Gorman, and Lake Mary prep is on the board. It's 2-0 Griffins. And there we saw the statement of intent from Lake Mary prep tonight. They love to run the floor, get out in transition, and attack the basket with opposite numbers. A 3 on the way, backboard and no for Ashton Grant. Rebound to Lake Mary, pressure by Grant, and a held ball, jump ball situation. We'll see who has the possession arrow. It is Lake Mary prep. Grant was tied up with Amatrone, who pulled down the board. Amatrone looks to be the main centerpiece for the Griffins. I keep wanting to say Rams because that's Lake Mary High School, not Lake Mary prep. Atlantic played the Griffins last year. Quick under the basket. Layup is no good with the left hand from Nicole Gorman. The ball is deflected out of bounds, and it will be Atlantic basketball. 2-0, a minute and a half gone by. 6:35 to go opening quarter. Sharks with a couple of wild shots, but no clean looks. Lake Mary with a couple of clean looks, but only one basket. Across the time stripe comes Ashton Grant. He steps up at the top of the key, fires to the right-hand corner. 3 on the way from Essence Wallace is no good, missed everything, and it rolls out of bounds. Ball will go to Lake Mary. Two 2-0 Griffins, controlling the ball with Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard guarded closely by Jones, crossed the time stripe, shoveled under the basket to Gorman, back up top for Wynn. Wynn, a 3 from straight on, hits the back iron and falls in. Jandy Nguyen is their top 3-point shooter, hit a couple of big 3-pointers in Lake Mary's only home game so far this season against St. Joseph's, a game they lost 55-32. That was their closest contest of the season so far. 3 in transition from the Sharks, no good from Grant, and a tie-up underneath the basket on the rebound as Madison Ronzio was tied up with Hubbard, and it will be Atlantic basketball. They'll inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners left. Neray Ivy comes out for the Sharks, and in for the first time is junior guard Serenity Martin. The ball comes in and is quickly cycled around to the top to Aaliyah Jones. Jones with space. Doesn't shoot the 3. Now she's got to get the ball away as she stepped He does try to pass to the left-hand side, and it's picked off. The ball is passed up into the hands of Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard goes straight to the basket, gets fouled. The shot won't go with the left-hand layup, but she will go to the line. They're going to get Ashton Grant on the foul. That's her first team foul, and 2 shots coming for Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard stands, toes the free throw line, basket that they attack to listeners left. It is currently 5-0 Lake Mary Prep, 5:27 to go first quarter in a low-scoring contest. Her first free throw is a swish right through there. A couple of shuffling of the positions underneath the basket for the Sharks as Serenity Martin will go to the post nearest the basket. It will not matter because Hubbard hits them both, and it's 7-0 Griffins. Once again, Ashton Grant up with it on the high right wing side. She goes one-on-one with Amatrone. Bounce pass back to the top, and it'll be an over and back violation as Aaliyah Jones could not get to the basketball in time and touched it after it crossed the Sharks logo at midcourt. First substitution of the ball game coming for Lake Mary Prep as Henny Lepping comes into the ball game, replacing Leilani Barnes. Lepping, the tallest on this Lake Mary team. The Griffins control it, drive inside, bounce pass under the basket. No, but there's going to be a foul away from the ball as it looks like Carolina Hubbard got pushed in the back by Grant. That is Grant's second foul. It'll be Lake Mary to inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners left. 5:05 to go first quarter, 7-0. Lake Mary Prep the lead. Into the ball game for the first time for the Sharks comes Jemiah Slayton, a sophomore guard. Quick bounce pass under the basket, up and good from Carolina Hubbard, and she adds to the Lake Mary lead. It is now 9-0. Under 5 to go first quarter. Essence Wallace now controls for the Sharks. She'll shuffle it off to Slayton. Slayton bounce pass to the corner. Madison Ranzio collects. Ranzio draws a double team baseline, shuffles her feet, and travels with the basketball, and another turnover will give it back to Lake Mary Prep. Atlantic will call timeout. Trailing 9-0. Lake Mary Prep on top of the Atlantic Sharks here early on. Want to get your business on the air in front of the Atlantic fans? If you would like to advertise on MJT Sports Productions, the official internet radio partner of Atlantic Athletics, please email AHS Athletic Director Shakia Brown at smbrown@volusia.k12.fl.us, and your business could be on the air with the Sharks. As the official healthcare champion of Volusia County Schools, Advent Health is committed to providing championship caliber care with 4 hospitals, 4 urgent care centers, and 6 sports medicine and rehab locations across Volusia County. Advent Health is here to keep your student athlete off the sidelines and get them back in the game. Visit adventhealth.com to learn more. Lake Mary Prep with an early 9-0 lead here. About midway through the first quarter here at the Shark Tank. First game of the season for the Atlantic High School Sharks. Fourth game of the season for the Griffins. They are 0-3. Corner 3 on the way and off the mark for Carolina Hubbard. Offensive rebound. Putback is no good, but it's controlled again by Amatrone for Lake Mary. Up to the top, here's Gorman. Gorman double teamed down high by Jones and Ranzio. Now she hands it off, and a pass underneath the basket is deflected and out of bounds. Ball to Atlantic. The passer was Hubbard. The recipient of the pass wanted to be Henriette Lepping, but it bounced off of Lepping's hands. Jemiah Slayton takes the inbounds pass for the Sharks. Walks across the time stripe. Nothing on the board yet for Atlantic. She floats it into the paint, and it's over the head of Aaliyah Jones, and it's another turnover. Lake Mary will get the basketball back, leading 9-0. Now, in my pregame interview with Coach Adrikius Williams, which you will hear at halftime, he said that none of these players, as into the front court comes Lake Mary Prep. I'll get back to my point in a second. Nice 1-2 pass, left-hand layup, bounces around the rim and out from Hubbard. Put back also no good, that one by Lepping, and the Sharks come away with a fast break. Jemiah Slayton down the lane, gets to the paint, draws a double team, throws up a layup that's no good off the backboard, and a jump ball as Essence Wallace fought with Nicole Gorman for the board. And the possession arrow favors Lake Mary Prep. Quickly into the front court come the Griffins. Gorman controls, drives past. Ronzio puts up a right-hand layup that hits the back of the rim. Offensive board for Emma Trone, and she puts it in. So the score is 11-0 for the Griffins. Jemiah Slayton controls for the Sharks, slowly into the front court. Lake Mary Prep has been playing a 2-3 defense all game long, and that's what they have ran for most of the season. Sharks have it pinned down in the corner, controlled by Essence Wallace. Behind the back pass, flips back to the point for Aaliyah Jones. Jones surveys, trying to pick apart this 2-3 defense, fires a three, off the backboard, no good. Long rebound comes to Lake Mary as Hubbard controls with it, drives past the scorer's table, gets into the front court, fires under the basket for Emma Trone. Emma Trone back to Hubbard, her long two, off the mark, missed everything, but a long board comes right back to Hubbard, and she controls in front of the Atlantic bench, listeners left, drives past one Shark, puts up a left-hand runner that goes off the glass and in. So Hubbard up to a team and game high 6 as it's 13-0 for Lake Mary Prep. Bounce pass to the right-hand side in front of the Lake Mary bench. Jemiah Slayton controls, fires inside, and then dribbling back up to the top is Aaliyah Jones. Jones drives, tries to get to the 2-3 zone, coughs up the basketball. Nice poke away by Lepping. Lepping, quick pass ahead towards Hubbard, looking for a transition basket. Hubbard stonewalled under the basket, forced to throw up a wild shot that goes. Well, you can't fault the defense from Jemiah Slayton there. She did all that she could, and Hubbard just had to throw up a desperation heave that caromed off the backboard and in. 15-0 is the Lake Mary lead. Slayton receives a pass across the timeline. She fires a three, hits the back iron and no good. The ball is on the ground. Serenity Martin fighting for the board. She won't get it. It's ripped away by Lepping. Lepping fires ahead to Hubbard. Hubbard with a runner in the lane that will not go. She wanted a foul, won't take it. Into the game for the first time is Janae Livingston for the Sharks, and wholesale changes for the Griffins. Michelle Martinzai comes in for the first time, as well as Leilani Barnes and Jandy Wynn check back into the game for the Griffins. Janae Livingston hands to Aaliyah Jones, and Jones will control for Atlantic, down 15-0, 1:15 to go first quarter here in the Shark Tank, opening game of the season for Atlantic Sharks girls basketball. Jones walks towards the right side, fires back across to Jemiah Slayton. Slayton with a long three, off the rim, no good. Rebound secured by Emily Sanchez, who's also just checked in for the Griffins, and she hands to Gorman. Gorman drives far right-hand side, stopped up on the right-hand wing, throws it to the corner. Controlling it is Sanchez, and then Gorman gets it back, and she'll back up, guarded closely by Livingston. Now drives past Livingston, gets to the baseline, forced to turn back, hand it to Sanchez. Sanchez hands it back to Gorman in a triple team high right wing side and coughs the ball up. Now running the floor in a one-on-one is Jones. Jones loses the handle and is forced to retreat all the way back to the corner. She could not put up a layup in transition. 20 seconds to go first quarter. Atlantic still looking for their first points. Jones fires a three high right wing side, and the bank is open as Jones gets it to go. First points of the season for Atlantic come with 10 seconds to go in the first quarter. Wynn controls right up top against their opposite number, Jones. No one to pass to. Now Gorman comes free. Her desperation three at the end of the first quarter is no good. That's the end of the first period of play. It is 15-3. The Lake Mary Prep Griffins lead the Atlantic Sharks. And we will be right back after this 30-second break. This is MJT Sports Productions broadcast of Atlantic Sharks basketball. Courtside at Atlantic High School, it is the first game of the season for the Atlantic Sharks girls varsity basketball team, and they currently trail the Lake Mary Prep Griffins. After one quarter, the score is 15-3. And it was very telling to look at the two benches during the quarter break. Head coach Christina Harold and assistant coach Sean O'Neill for the Griffins were very calm, had their team gathered around them. Oh, hold on, quickly into the paint off the initial inbounds pass for the Griffins goes Carolina Hubbard. Fighting for the rebound is Emma Trone, and she gets it. Griffins will keep possession, and then a wayward pass will go out of bounds, but it was tipped by Atlantic, and it will stay here. So Harold and O'Neill for on the Lake Mary Prep sideline, very even, very calm, level-headed, and Adrikius Williams was very animated trying to get some life out of his Atlantic Sharks players on the bench to listeners left. In the ball goes to Hubbard. Hubbard will fire a running two, off the mark, no good, but gathers her own miss on the long two. And now a long three, uncontested, straight on from Wynn. It hits the board and doesn't touch the rim. Atlantic recovers into the front court. A scramble for the ball after Grant lost it, and it eventually comes to Aaliyah Jones, and the Sharks will continue to control. Jones will face no pressure from the 2-3 zone, and now a three on the way. Front iron no good from Ashton Grant. Defensive rebound by Lake Mary Prep. Dribbling through a double team is Hubbard across the timeline. She has a free lane to the basket, puts up a right-hand layup from the left side, and it is good. Hubbard now with 10 of her team's 17 points. Sharks control. In possession is Ashton Grant, high right wing side. She'll be guarded closely by Dakota Hansler, who's just checked in at the quarter break. She blows by Hansler, gets to the baseline, tries to throw up a shot, but is partially blocked. Battle under the basket comes to Ivy for the Sharks. She puts up a shot that won't go. Excuse me, that was Essence Wallace. Now fires back to the top, a third opportunity for Atlantic. Underneath the basket, there is a scramble, and it's going to be another held ball situation. Atlantic will have the possession arrow. Madison Ronzio was diving under the basket that time, fighting Carolina Hubbard for the ball. Wholesale changes on both sides. Kaylee Espada comes in for the first time for the Griffins. Henny Lepping will come out. Nicole Gorman checks in, and Gianna Diacomo comes in. And then for the Sharks, Caitlin Dickerson, Janae Livingston, Serenity Martin, and a whole host of others. It will be Caitlin Dickerson, the freshman, to be the gunner. Her initial first pass was blocked out of bounds. She does bounce the ball in, and it is deflected out of bounds again. Nice defense that time by Gianna Diacomo, who is a 7th grader, the youngest player on the court. Serenity Martin now the gunner. It kicks off a foot underneath the basket. It's picked up by Emily Sanchez of Lake Mary Prep, but she steps on the baseline. Sorry about that. The Sharks have an inbound. 2 listeners left. They attack the basket to listeners right. Shoveled under the basket towards Williams. It's picked up, thrown at the basket by Dickerson. And another offensive rebound and a travel as Dickerson got her own miss. Now, she may only be a freshman, has only played a couple of minutes, but I really like the energy that Caitlin Dickerson has come out with, getting a couple of looks at the basket early on. But Lake Mary Prep does control. They lead 17-3, 6 minutes to go second quarter. Bounce pass under the basket from Hubbard is intercepted by the Sharks. Coming away with it is Jemiah Slayton. She's got a free lane to the basket. She's going to lay it up, and it's short. She gathers her own miss, though, and she's going to be tied up under the basket. It's going to be another held ball. This time the possession arrow will favor Lake Mary Prep. And I think what we've seen from Coach Williams is he's going to use this game as a testing session. See what combination of players works. As into the front court comes Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard loses the rock. It deflects off a Sharks player, that being Jemiah Slayton, and goes out of bounds. It will be Lake Mary Prep to inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners left. 5:39 to go in the first half, 17-3 in a low-scoring contest favors the Griffins. Baseline inbound. Hubbard missed everything too strong with a baseline jumper. And Serenity Martin travels with the basketball, trying to get away. Now, I didn't have time in the pregame show to talk about my keys to the game. And for Atlantic, I mentioned back to basics. You can't waste possessions with careless turnovers. Hold on. A run into the paint. A layup is no good from Hubbard off the inbounds pass. She gathers her own miss, walks back to the high right-hand side. A pass into the middle intended for Diacomo deflects off her hands, goes into the Atlantic bench, and it will be Sharks ball. You can't have these, there's been a lot of travels and double dribbles and careless passes, and that's the thing that as the season goes along, we'll want to see the Sharks get better at and just avoid those kind of situations, because I don't have a solid number, but I'm guessing 10 of those 17 points for Lake Mary Prep have come off of turnovers. Sharks control high left wing side. It's Ashton Grant. Grant tries to shovel it under the basket to Caitlin Dickerson. It's off her hands and into the hands of Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard throws it ahead to win. She gets tripped up behind the play. Excuse me, that was Nicole Gorman who was on the ball, not Hubbard. And they're going to get Livingston for her first foul. So that's 3 team fouls on the Sharks here in the first half. Lake Mary Prep will inbound halfway down the offensive side, their offensive side of the court, which is the basket to listeners' left. Checking in for the Sharks is Ashton Grant. And there's a bit of a hold-up here. I'm not sure why. We are waiting for the referee to hand the ball to Nicole Gorman to get the play restarted. Now Gorman has the ball. She plays it into Hubbard, and Hubbard will get tapped on the back as she tried to attack the baseline. I don't think this will be in the act of shooting. And that's going to be on Grant, and that'll be her 3rd foul in the first half. As the team foul up to 4, was not in the act of shooting, so it'll be another inbounds pass for Lake Mary Prep. Hubbard has it baseline. Now she'll bounce pass back to the top for Wynn. Thought about a 3, won't take it because she is hounded by Lillian Sprouse, who's just checked into the game. Sprouse actually turns her over, and then diving on the floor to recover the basketball is Jemiah Slayton. And it's going to be another held ball. So it was a held ball, possession to Atlantic. The inbounds pass comes in. It's controlled by Ashton Grant. 17-3, the Sharks trail. 4:40 to go first half. A long 3 on the way is no good from Jemiah Slayton. Picking up the board is Wynn. Wynn just stops just short of the halfway line and throws it over her head to Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard bounce pass under the basket, intercepted by Slayton. Slayton now on a run. She's trying to work past Nicole Gorman and travels with the basketball. Took too many steps before trying to pass that one to a cutting Ashton Grant. So it's just the little simple things, the travels, the boxing outs on rebounds that are killing the Sharks right now. Wynn controls for Lake Mary. She's got Dickerson on her. Bounce pass to the left-hand side, controlled by by Gorman. And Gorman bounces it off a foot, and it'll be still Lake Mary ball. They'll inbound right in front of the Sharks bench. And Lake Mary Prep will call timeout.
30 seconds.
It'll be a 30-second timeout. So we'll take 25 seconds and then be right back. This is MJT Sports Productions broadcast of Atlantic Sharks basketball. Advent Health is here for you and with you during every tip-off, every basket, and every season to support you physically, mentally, and spiritually in this game called life. Advent Health is on your team. They're your biggest fan and here to help heal what hurts. Visit adventhealth.com to learn more. Jandy Wynn picks up the basketball off the inbounds pass. They were inbounding in front of the Sharks bench. The listeners left. She immediately got tapped. I believe that was Lillian Sprouse who committed the foul for Atlantic. So it's going to be another inbounds for Lake Mary Prep. The gunner is Nicole Gorman. She gets the ball in to Hubbard. Hubbard, a long, loping left-hand drive. Now bounce pass under the basket to a backdoor cutting Nicole Gorman. She can't control, and the ball is tapped away from her, but she recovers all the way back to the top against Lillian Sprouse, and Sprouse commits another foul, this one of the reach-in variety. And that'll be Sprouse's second foul in short order, and she is over here talking to Coach Williams.
That's 5 fouls, right? 1 on 1? Is it 7?
Yeah. Lake Mary Prep wanted a 1-on-1, but they're one short of the bonus. It's only the 6th team foul on Atlantic. Ball is shoveled into Hubbard. Well, again, that left-hand drive, bounce pass under the basket, finds Amatrone. Amatrone trying to put up a shot. And it's going to be an offensive. They're going to kick a 3-second violation against Amatrone as she spent too long in the paint. I thought it was going to be an offensive foul, but then the referee put up 3 fingers. Sharks control, down 17-3, 3:35 to go in the first half. Controlling for the Sharks is Ashton Grant. Grant shovels it near side right. Jemiah Slayton. Slayton now on the baseline, gets it to Dickerson. A running layup is too short. She gets the rebound, but then gets tied up by Amatrone, and I believe that's Lake Mary Prep at the possession arrow. Leilani Barnes checks back in for Lake Mary, as well as Gianna Diacomo. That is Gianna DiGiacomo. Lake Mary gets an inbound underneath the basket that they defend to listeners right. Full court press comes for the Sharks, and there is a whistle.
Sharks ball.
And no, it's stepped on the baseline. So I believe what happened was the gunner for Lake Mary threw the ball in to Gianna DiGiacomo, and DiGiacomo stepped on the baseline as he was trying to break contain. Sharks have it in the right-hand corner. 3 on the way, hits the rim, and is no good. That shot was by Ashton Grant. Rebound controlled by Lake Mary Prep. Nicole Gorman trying to go coast to coast, and she got hit up high by Jemiah Slayton, and this is going to send her to the line for a 1-on-1. So it's going to be 1+1 for Nicole Gorman. This is only the second trip to the line for Lake Mary Prep in the ball game so far. Hubbard hit both of her 2-shot foul earlier. She misses the first end of a 1-and-1, and then a foul on the breakout. And that's going to be the 3rd foul on Sprouse for Atlantic. So we've got 2 Atlantic players with 3 fouls already, Sprouse and Grant.
Gianna, back up a little bit.
So it's going to be another 1-and-1 situation for Nicole Gorman after she just missed the front end of a 1-and-1. Fires and hits the first of the 1+1. Into the ball game comes Madison Ronzio, the senior forward. Started the game for Atlantic, but has not played most of this second quarter. There's 3 minutes to go in the quarter, and the first points of the quarter were just scored on that free throw, and the second free throw for Gorman is up and no good. Offensive rebound grabbed by Barnes, and then the putback is also too short. It's going to be another held ball as Jemiah Slayton goes to the ground with Nicole Gorman And it's going to be Sharks ball.
Sharks ball.
Neray Ivy checks back in for the Sharks, as well as Aaliyah Jones.
For the Sharks, number 2,
And Henriette Lepping will rejoin for the Griffins. She replaces Leilani Barnes, who's only in the game for about 30 seconds. Boxed out on 2 free throws and then is coming out of the game. Sharks control down 18-3. It's in the hands of Aaliyah Jones, who's just checked into the ball game. She hands off a high ball screen to Jemiah Slayton. Now here is Ronzio, drives inside, and a foul is going to be called. And this will be the first one on Lake Mary Prep. And it looks like they're going to get Gorman for her first. And it will be, trying to see if it was a shooting foul. It was not. So the Sharks will inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners' right. Ronzio is the gunner. Fires all the way up to the top. It leaves the pass short, and it's picked up by Hubbard. Hubbard tries to pass under the basket to Wynn, and Wynn could not control it. It goes all the way across the court and out of bounds. It will be Sharks ball, so a couple of miscues on both sides lead to back-to-back empty possessions. Still only one score on the board, and it's the 3 by Aaliyah Jones in the first quarter. And the Sharks trail the Griffins 18-3. 2:22 to go in the first half. Aaliyah Jones controls for Atlantic. She stands between the circles. She fires a straight-on 3. Dead eye! Aaliyah Jones has another 3. Oh, no, excuse me. Yeah, that was Jones, has another 3-pointer, and she's got all 6 of Atlantic's 6 on 2 threes. Now driving inside, stripping the ball is Jemiah Slayton. Slayton gives it up to Jones. Jones drives, and she gets fouled as she tried to put up a layup in transition.
Going to the line, number 10, Aaliyah Jones. 4-2.
So Aaliyah Jones, who has been all of Atlantic's offense so far, has 6 points on 2 threes and now at the line for a 2-shot penalty. Her first shot is off the right side of the rim and no good. As Amatrone checks back in, and Mardanzai checks in for Lake Mary. Second of a 2-shot penalty coming for Atlantic. It'll be Jones to take. Bounces the ball 3 times, puts the freebie up, and it's no good. Bounces off the back of the rim. It's Lake Mary Prep to rebound. The board was pulled down by Amatrone, trying to trap in the backcourt, and it's intercepted as a long pass was picked off by Ronzio. Ronzio now runs the other way. She puts a shot up, and she gets fouled. Carolina Hubbard was trapped in front of her own bench by a 2-man press. She threw the ball into the front court to try and afford trying to avoid the 10-second penalty. They're going to get Hubbard for her first foul, and Madison Ronzio will go to the line
number 12, Madison Ronzio.
Will have a 2-shot penalty. She bounces the ball 3 times. She fires, and it rattles home. So it's now 18-7. Sharks on a bit of an offensive barrage, I could take the liberty with that phrase. They've scored the last 4 points. The ball is deflected off a missed shot and collected by Lake Mary Prep. Hubbard across the time stripe to Wynn. Wynn back to Hubbard on the left-hand wing. Hubbard hands to Mondazai. Mondazai has it stripped by Ashton Grant. Grant runs the floor, and she has the ball poked away from behind, and it came off of her knee, so she will not get the possession back. It'll be Lake Mary Prep to inbound. And Lake Mary Prep assistant coach Sean O'Neill wants a timeout. He will get it. Sharks fans, basketball season is here, and you can catch all the action from the Shark Tank live on MJT Sports Productions, the official internet radio home of your Atlantic Sharks. Be sure to like our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter all at MJT Sports Productions, so you never miss a moment of the action. Let's go Sharks. 1 minute and 16 seconds to go in the first half in a low-scoring contest here. Lake Mary, Prep 18, Atlantic 7, but the last 5 points have been scored by the Sharks. 2 3-pointers for Aaliyah Jones, who is the gunslinger this season for the Sharks, apparently. Dead eye on 2 threes from straight on, are 6 of the 7 points, and then 1 of 2 from the free throw line for Madison Ronzio is the other Atlantic tally. Lake Mary Prep controls into the front court. Here's Gorman. Gorman almost has the ball poked away. It is shoveled under the basket towards Mardazzi. It comes back up to Wynn. Wynn with a free opportunity, doesn't take it. Now drives, gets up to the paint, fires a two-pointer, too strong, and then a travel on the offensive board by Mardanzai. Michelle Mardanzai got a clean look at that offensive rebound, but then just traveled before she could put up a second chance opportunity. Sharks will have the ball. It'll be a quick full court press from Lake Mary Prep, but it's broken by a cutting Jones. Jones gets to the basket and gets bumped as she crashes hard into the door behind the basket here at the Shark Tank Gymnasium. And Aaliyah Jones will get to the line for her second time of the game, and they're going to get Katie Amatrone for her first foul. Jones missed both of a two-shot penalty earlier in the game. As I look back through my notes, she's at the line again. The right-handed shooter throws it up off the glass and just missed it. As Lepping and Di Giacomo come back in for the Griffins. Wynn is out and Barnes is out. One shot to go for Aaliyah Jones. This is to pull the Sharks to within 10. It is up and wide to the right, but the offensive rebound is controlled by Atlantic. Nice board by Janae Livingston, and almost a backcourt violation, but getting hammered was Jemiah Slayton as she controlled on the Atlantic Sharks logo. She got knocked over by Di Giacomo. That's the 4th team foul for Lake Mary Prep. The Sharks will inbound right in front of us here at the scorer's table. 47 seconds to go in the first half. It's 18-7 in a low-scoring game here at the Shark Tank. The gunner will be Madison Ronzio, inbound guarded by Amatrone. She got the ball in, but it's stolen on the inbounds pass by Di Giacomo, and then Di Giacomo double dribbles with the ball and gives it right back to Atlantic. So it's been kind of a comedy of errors on both sides of this game. A lot of turnovers, and only 3 points in the second quarter for the Griffins of Lake Mary Prep. Ronzio throws it in, lane to the basket. A layup is not attempted. Now Ronzio gets the ball back. She's in the paint. She traveled. It looked like Janae Livingston had a perfect chance for a left-handed layup as she got the ball floated into the paint off the inbounds pass by Ronzio with nobody in front, but chose to try and pass it back to Ronzio, who then traveled. Griffins control across the timeline with Hubbard. Hubbard gets to the paint, and the ball is knocked out of bounds, but he traveled first, and it's another turnover. And imploring her team to slow down is Christina Harold on the sideline. I'm not sure if our microphones picked that one up. Inbounds pass stolen by Lake Mary. A quick shot by Gorman is no good. The Sharks will grab it, and a double dribble committed by Janae Livingston as they tried to contain as the full court press was brought on really quickly by Lake Mary Prep. 19.7 seconds to go first half in an 18-7 ball game. Coach Williams is right in front of the scorer's table talking to Jones and Slayton. Underneath the basket, open layup is left short by Lepping. She gets the ball back. Second chance opportunity, no good. Third opportunity by Gorman is also no good. And Livingston Ronzio grabs the board for the Sharks, and a timeout is called by Atlantic with 8.3 seconds to go in the first half. So if this score holds, and it should, either Atlantic will score or Lake Mary Prep will not score. If this score holds, or if the Sharks score, Atlantic will have outscored the Griffins here in this second quarter, 5-3. The score is 18-7, Lake Mary Prep. The danger player for Lake Mary Prep so far is Hubbard. She has 12 of her team's 18. Nobody else on the Lake Mary Prep squad has more than one field goal. The ball is bounced in to Jemiah Slayton, trying to break a full court press. She does right in front of the scorer's table. Shoveled under the basket. Baseline runner is too short from Aaliyah Jones, and that's the end of the half.
Your score at the half.
And the score at the half is Lake Mary Prep 18, Atlantic High School 7. We will take a short break and be right back. When we come back, it's a halftime stats and scoring totals and an interview with head coach Adrekius Williams of the Atlantic Sharks. We'll be back after this. This is MJT Sports Productions' broadcast of Atlantic Sharks basketball. Welcome back to Atlantic High School. It is halftime in the home and season opener for the Atlantic Sharks varsity girls basketball team. They trail at the half to the Lake Mary Prep Griffins. The score is 18-7. And before I run you through the scoring totals and stats and figures, I've got an interview to play for you. Before the game today, I spoke with Sharks head coach Adrekius Williams to talk about his expectations for the season, what it's like working with a new group, and of course, what it's like to being only the second head coach in Atlantic Sharks history, taking over for the legendary George Butts. Here is that interview with Coach Williams. I'm here with Coach Williams before the Sharks take on the Lake Murray Prep Griffins in their first game of the season. Coach, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but you are stepping into rather big shoes here with the departure of George Butts. What does it mean to you to step into that role as the second head coach in the history of this program?
It actually feels pretty good. Coach Butts has been nothing but motivational, and he's had my back since I got here, and I worked with him on campus even before sports. And he told me anything I need, just let him know, and he don't mind helping me, and I definitely appreciate it.
Now, turning our vision forward to this team right here, it's a brand new group with brand new expectations. Give us some names to watch out for in the group this year.
The whole team. Because right here, right now, what we have are all 9th graders, 10th graders, and a couple of seniors. So this will be your Lady Sharks for the next 3 years, and they all have something to bring to the table. None of them have played organized basketball until this year. But we have a couple of bowlers, we got cheerleaders, we got track girls, we got volleyball girls. So we got some athletes, and we're going to use what we got to get where we're trying to go.
And what are your expectations for this season, both as a coach and for your team?
My expectation as a coach is to have the ability to watch these young ladies grow, because that's most important to me, watching them grow and develop in a game that I knew and loved, and try to hopefully share that love with them in the right way, hopefully give them all the positive they need that'll set them up for a successful future as far as basketball go and as far as school go. And as far as the program itself, we just want to be like the teams of the past. We want to compete, we want to get after it, but most of all, with this young group, we want to develop and we want to have fun.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
A massive thank you to Coach Williams for that interview earlier today. I'll be speaking to him before each and every home game the Sharks have this season that we broadcast, which is all of them. So I'll be speaking to him before every Sharks girls broadcast. All right, here are the scoring totals. First for the Atlantic Sharks, it's going to go pretty quickly. Aaliyah Jones is the scoring woman for Atlantic. She's got 6 of the 7, 2 dead-eye threes from straight on, and 1 at the free throw line. And the one other point for the Sharks comes from the free throw line as well. Madison Ronzio has it. She is 0 for 1. Or sorry, excuse me, 1 for 2 from the line. For the Lake Murray Prep Griffins, it is Carolina Hubbard who is doing the damage. 12 points for her of the 18 total that they have. Then 2 with 3. That's Gorman and Wynn both with 3. And Katie Amatroni has 2. Once again, your score at the break is the Lake Murray Prep Griffins 18, the Atlantic Sharks 7. We'll be back in about 3 minutes for the start of the second half of action. You're listening to MJT Sports Productions broadcast of Atlantic Sharks basketball. Back at the Shark Tank, the gymnasium on the campus of Atlantic High School. It's the second half of action on tap between the Griffins of Lake Mary Prep and the Sharks of Atlantic High School. The score is 18-7. Griffins lead the Sharks in the first game of the year and the first competitive basketball game for everybody on this Atlantic Sharks roster, if you're listening to the interview I had with head coach Adrekius Williams at halftime. The Lake Mary Prep Griffins will start with the ball. They go left to right in this third quarter. And Mount's pass comes into the danger woman, Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard goes right at the basket, lays it up and in. Hubbard up to a game-high 14, the only person in double figures. Full court press now comes from the Lake Mary Prep. The ball does get into Aaliyah Jones. Jones is chased back under her own basket. Got to get the ball across the time stripe, and she does, guarded by Hubbard. Jones has the ball knocked away by Hubbard into the hands of Nicole Gorman. Gorman drives the lane. She gets the runner to fall, and it's 4 quick points for the Rams, or excuse me, for the Griffins. Inbounds pass comes from the Sharks, but it's immediately turned over by Serenity Martin. Hubbard controls, gets to the baseline. Left-hand layup is good. So it's a quick 6-0 run to start the ball game, or start the second half for Lake Mary Prep, 24-7. Obviously, something was said in the locker room. Into the front court, charging past the scorer's table comes Ashton Grant for the Sharks. She gets to the baseline, but coughs the ball up. It goes out of bounds over the baseline, and it'll be Sharks' ball as it was knocked out of bounds by Katie Amatrone. And whistle at a stoppage of play. The scoreboard here at the Shark Tank did not clear the fouls from the first half, so that is now rectified, and the Sharks will inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners left, trailing 25-7. And whistle at a stoppage of play after the inbounds pass. Madison Ronzio passed it in to Aaliyah Jones, and something was illegal about it. I don't know what. So it is Lake Mary Prep to inbound the basketball. 3 press to come, but it's easily passed around. Hubbard, backdoor cut, and fumbling the basketball is Leilani Barnes, and she loses it out of bounds into the Griffins bench. Into the ball game comes Henriette Lepping. She replaces Barnes, who's going to get a talking to from assistant coach Sean O'Neill for Lake Mary. Bounce pass is deflected out of bounds right in front of the scorer's table. It will remain the Sharks' ball. The gunner was Madison Ronzio. She tried to get it up to Jemiah Slayton, but it was off the knee of Katie Amatrone, and it will be once again Amatrone guarding Ronzio on the inbound. Ronzio looks for a pass, finds Grant. Grant drives into the paint, layup too strong, put back attempt by Martin, no good. The ball squirts out back to the top of the key and is taken by Jones. Offensive rebound for Atlantic. Jones, who has 6 of the Sharks' 7 points, fires another 3 from straight on. This one bricks on the left side of the back of the iron and is recovered by Nicole Gorman for the Griffins. Gorman loses the handle as she tries to drive, and it goes out of bounds, and another turnover. It will be Sharks basketball. The most important thing for the Sharks is going to have to be finishing second chance opportunities at the rim going forward, because they've had those opportunities, just have not finished them. Thrown into the front court for Serenity Martin. Her running layup is good. Beautiful, beautiful touch pass that finds Martin in slide from Jemiah Slayton all the way back at the halfway line. Now posting up on the other side is Katie Amatrone. Amatrone shuffles it back, tried to get it to Hubbard, and it's turned over. Now running free away from everybody is Jones. Goes for the layup, it's too strong, and then getting fouled underneath the basket trying to contest the rebound is Henny Lepping. And she's going to get Slayton with her second foul for the Sharks. Barnes and Kaylee Espada check back in for Lake Mary Prep. Lepping comes out. It will be Griffins basketball. They'll inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners' left. Also coming out is Jandy Wynn. Lake Mary Prep trying to break the full court press. Short pass into Gorman. Gorman runs past Slayton into the front court, and she'll stop and take stock in front of her own bench. She is harassed by Jones, gets the ball away to Hubbard. Hubbard bounce pass underneath the basket. A shot comes up, hits the underside of the backboard from Amatrone, and then the rebound is gathered after it rolled all the way back to the top by Gorman. Gorman shovels under the basket. Nice pass and a block! Huge block by Ashton Grant. Katie Amatrone looked to go up for an easy layup, but coming flying in from behind was Ashton Grant to knock the ball behind the baseline. Dakota Hansla checks in for Lake Mary Prep. She will replace Espada. Griffins control, they'll inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners' right. The gunner is Amatrone. Amatrone throws it in under the basket, finds Gorman. Now a three on the way short, but it's put back up and in by Amatrone. The original three was from Barnes, I believe. Yes, it was. Into the front court comes the Sharks. Jones controls at the top of the key, dribbles through a double team, fires a long three off the rim, no good. Rebound flies to the left-hand corner and is controlled by Amatrone for the Griffins. Full court press comes from Atlantic. Passing out of it into the front court, back to Hubbard. Hubbard fires into the basket to a wide open Leilani Barnes, and she got bumped going up for a layup attempt, so she will go to the line. They're going to catch Madison Ronzio for her first foul. And this is the first trip to the line for either side in the second half. It will go to Leilani Barnes, who has not scored a point so far tonight. Barnes, a right-hand primary shooter, and she puts the first one no good to the left.
And for the Sharks is number 0, Wallace, and number 14.
Caitlin Dickerson and Essence Wallace are coming in for the Sharks, as well as Dakota Hansla is back in for the Griffins. Or excuse me, that's a Win back in for the Griffins. Second of a two-shot penalty is up and no good. Rebound fought for and won by the Sharks, but it goes off of Serenity Martin and out of bounds. So 2 free throws missed by Barnes. Has
Something in for the Sharks,
Janae Livingston is in for the Sharks. So is Lillian Sprouse and Naray Ivy all in for the Sharks. So mass substitutions, just trying to change it up. Quick under the basket, finds Barnes. Her layup is no good off the underside of the rim, but she will go to the line as she got hit on the back. And it's another foul on Sprouse. That's her 4th, so she just checks into the game, does Lillian Sprouse, and already collects her 4th foul. Had 3 in the first half. She sat most of the second quarter, because of it. And now Leilani Barnes at the line for a little bit of redemption. Missed both shots of her 2-shot penalty the last time she got to the line a few seconds ago. Barnes with 2 dribbles, palms the basketball, throws the shot up and off the front of the rim, no good. The boxing out that last time was good for Atlantic. They just couldn't control the ball and it went out on the baseline. They're going to get another chance to do it. Here's the second free throw is no good. It's scrambled around into the basket and it's going to be another held ball.
Jump ball. Sharks ball.
And the Sharks will control. The score is 27-9. 8 points so far for the Griffins in this third quarter, and the inbounds pass is turned over to Amatrone. She bounce passes it under the basket, and a shot is blocked by Barnes, who put up the shot. It was blocked by Lillian Sprouse. And timeout for the Sharks before Dickerson was able to travel with the basketball during the scramble for the rebound. It's time you feel your best, physically, mentally, and spiritually, to be centered and supported, to feel the power of a world-class healthcare network coming together to help you take control of your health. It's time to feel whole. Advent Health is a proud supporter of Volusia County School Athletics. Visit adventhealth.com to learn more. 27-9, the Griffins have extended their lead over the Atlantic Sharks here early in the third quarter. 4:24 to go in the third. And once again, it's Carolina Hubbard doing the damage. She's got 4 points in the quarter, up to 16 of her team's 27. And it'll be Sharks ball out of the timeout. They'll inbound under the basket that they defend to listeners right, going right to left in this third quarter. The gunner is Essence Wallace. She gets the ball in, and it's knocked out of bounds immediately by Carolina Hubbard, so we'll do it again. Lake Mary has done very well in defending inbounds passes. This time the ball does come in. It's controlled by Neray Ivy, and Ivy travels with it as she tries to dribble up the floor, and it'll go right back to Lake Mary Prep. Griffins wearing the all-black strip tonight. Brand new uniforms for them. Driving baseline is Hubbard. Nice backdoor pass, and not shooting is Hansla. She gets back to the top and hands it to DiGiacomo. DiGiacomo back to Hubbard, guarded closely by Lillian Sprouse. Hubbard drives inside, backdoor cutting pass, and a 3-second violation is going to go on Amatrone as she has been hunting in the paint all night. That's her second 3-second violation. But the Sharks have failed to get out of their own end the last couple of times due to this full court press put on by Lake Mary Prep off the inbounds pass. Essence Wallace to inbound. She gets it into Dickerson, and they're going to do the inbounds pass again for reasons I do not know. It looked like the inbounds was clean to Dickerson, and Dickerson was moving on up the floor. But we'll do it again. Wallace inbound to Dickerson. She gets the double team. Dickerson across half court on the right-hand side. Now she gets to the baseline. Does she put up a shot? Still with a double team. And she can't move. She does get the ball to Wallace underneath the basket. Wallace dribbles all the way clean through to the left-hand corner. Wallace is going to put up a shot with no contest. It's going to go off the front of the rim and out of bounds. Ball to Lake Mary Prep. Subs coming in for Lake Mary Prep. Nicole Gorman and Jandy Wynn in. Carolina Hubbard is out, as well as Gianna DiGiacomo. Sharks to inbound under the basket that they attack to listeners left off the deflection. Wallace has the ball poked away on the inbounds pass by Amatrone. And let's see if they ruled the ball went out of bounds before she touched it, because the ball was tapped right back to Essence Wallace, who of course is standing out of bounds because she just threw the ball in. It is going to be Lake Mary Prep ball. Quick inbounds comes to Wynn. Jandy Wynn has not had as much success shooting the ball as she normally does. Only a single three-pointer on the board for her tonight. Sharks trying to trap. They get Amatrone out high. She drives past Janae Livingston and lays it in with the right hand. 29-9, the lead has grown to 20. And the Sharks make 5 substitutions. The original starting 5 come back in. Excuse me, the original starting 5 are going out, and in are all the others. Jemiah Slayton, Madison Ronzio, Ashton Grant, Serenity Martin. And a couple of changes for Lake Mary as well. Both teams are basically platoon subbing, so I'm having a hard time keeping track of who's coming into the game. Sharks are inbounding into the basket for listeners left, but it's turned over on the inbounds pass to Lepping, who's just checked in. The ball is on the turf, or on the ground, as well as 3 players. We'll see who this foul goes on. And they're going to get Ronzio with her second foul. So Lake Mary Prep is going to inbound into the basket to listeners right. That's the one that they are attacking. The gunner is Gorman. She gets the ball into Hubbard. Hubbard drives, bats pass to Gorman under the basket. She takes one dribble and lays it in. Nice pass to find Hubbard. No, nice pass by Hubbard, excuse me, to find Lepping. As she was left wide open as Hubbard drew a double team. Sharks control of the front court. Spinning past the defender is Jones. She puts up a runner in the lane. Off the front iron, no good. Gathered in by Ashton Grant. Her putback is blocked. And then a foul is going to be called in the ensuing melee, trying to get to the ball off the rebound. It's going to be a Sharks foul. And it's going to be on Grant, her third, as Leilani Barnes returns for the Sharks. Tomorrow night, we'll be back here at the Shark Tank with a double header of action for you. The girls begin against the University Titans at 5 p.m., and then the boys look to continue an undefeated start to the season as they take on the Deltona Wolves, a team that they split the season series with last year at 7:30 p.m. Both of those games can be heard right here on MJT Sports Productions. Breaking free is Hubbard. Hubbard stop and go across the time stripe. She gets bumped and goes to the ground as she stopped to look for a pass as she got to about the top of the free throw line, or to the three-point line. We'll see who they call this foul on. There were a couple of Sharks in the area. And that is the third foul on Slayton. So the Sharks starting to get into a little of foul trouble. Slayton has 3, Sprouse has 4, Ronzio has 2, and Grant has 3. Michelle Mardanzi returns for the Griffins, as well as Katie Amatrone. And Caitlin Dickerson is in for the Sharks. Lake Mary Prep will control halfway in the Sharks half. Bounce pass to Hubbard out of the inbounds. And then under the baseline it goes to Amatrone. Amatrone all the way back, out back to Hubbard. Hubbard blows by Jones. Stops, kicks to the corner, and it's cycled back to the top for Gorman. Gorman now drives past Dickerson, gets to the lane. Her right-hand layup is good. Gorman, Hubbard, and Amatrone all have 4 points in this quarter. 2:04 to go in the third, and it's 33-9. It's been all Lake Mary Prep out of the halftime interval. Driving for the Sharks is Ashton Grant. She coughs up the basketball. Hubbard controls across the time stripe. She's 1-on-4, so she'll stop up, fire across. Now driving, floater in the lane, no good. And it looked like it was partially blocked. Nicole Gorman was the shooter. Now in transition come the Sharks the other way, getting into the baseline. And she can't move anymore. That's Ashton Grant, tries to bounce pass it under the basket to Madison Ronzio, and a big old scrum. Looks like a rugby scrum now on the baseline. We'll see who they give possession to. And it's going to be a held ball possession to Lake Mary. Slayton checks in for the Sharks. She was only out a couple of seconds as she replaces Dickerson, who replaced her. 1:32 to go in the quarter. It's 33-9, Lake Mary Prep. Hubbard, who's killed the Sharks all night with her speed, drives into the front court, then stops up. She'll hold between the circles with Jones on her. Bounces it underneath the basket to Amatrone. Amatrone gets it back to Hubbard. A 15-footer from the baseline. Right-hand side is good from Hubbard. Hubbard is up to 18 points. Walking it up the floor for the Sharks is Grant. She'll find Slayton. Slayton tries to put up a runner. It hangs on the rim and is no good. That's probably the best scoring chance the Sharks have had in the third quarter. And then a foul is going to be called as Nicole Gorman was trying to go coast to coast. And that's going to be the 4th foul on Slayton. So Nicole Gorman picked up the rebound on that last one, tried to go coast to coast, was hip checked by Gorman about halfway inside the... Oh, it looks like they're going to call a technical foul. So it's a free throw with nobody in the lane for Nicole Gorman, which she misses. Gorman now has another free throw with everybody out past midcourt. And she got that one. So 1 of 2 at the line for Gorman. Dickerson checks in for Atlantic, probably replacing Slayton, who's got 4. And
Subbing in for the Sharks, number 14.
DiGiacomo comes in. So they are going to call a technical foul on the Sharks on that one. So Lake Mary will get the ball. The ball comes into Hubbard. She lays it in with the right hand, no contest. Under a minute to go in the first half, or for a third quarter. 38-9 the score. And 2 Sharks run into each other and the ball is turned over. Bounce pass forward finds Hubbard. Hubbard runs, lays it in with the left hand. Nice recognition that time by Amatrone as 2 Sharks collided at the top of the key. She just picked up the loose ball and threw it ahead to Hubbard, who had an easy lay-in. Sharks control this time with Ronzio at the point. Ronzio puts the ball in her left hand, tries to drive, and they're going to call a foul, I believe, on Amatrone. They are going to call the foul on Amatrone as she pushed Ronzio to the ground. That's Amatrone's second foul. Only the first foul on the Lake Mary Prep Griffins in this second half so far, and already in the single bonus is Atlantic. They've committed 7 fouls. Serenity Martin bounces it under the basket on the inbounds pass. It's tapped out of bounds by Dakota Hansla, and it will remain Sharks ball. They'll do it again under the basket that the Sharks attack to listeners left, trailing 40-9. And the pass inbounds is intended for Ashton Grant. It eventually gets there. It was in and out of the hands of Dakota Martin, and a 3 at the buzzer from Ashton Grant is no good. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, Lake Mary Prep 40, Atlantic 9. Is a tough quarter for the Sharks as they only score 2 points. And we'll come back for the final 8 minutes of play after this. This is MJT Sports Productions broadcast of Atlantic Sharks basketball. Well, just when it looked like the Atlantic Sharks were going to have some momentum coming out of the half as they scored 5 of the last 8 at the end of the first half, it was a 23-2 third quarter for the Lake Mary Prep Griffins. They ballooned the lead to 40-9, 12 points in the quarter for Carolina Hubbard, and 24 for the game to lead all scorers. And the final 8 minutes are about to start here at the Shark Tank. Atlantic will control, wearing the all-white teal numbers, black trim, Sharks across the front in block letters in teal with white and black trim. Controlling off the inbounds pass is Ashton Grant. Grant will step into a 3, bank shot off the rim, no good. Offensive board is put back up and in by Madison Ronzio. So Ronzio gets her second and third points of the night. Wynn trying to get across the time stripe. She does. The ball is poked away from her. She recovers. And her pass trying to get into the front court is deflected away. It comes back to Nicole Gorman, who has it. She has a clean run at the basket as everybody was guarding somebody else. She's going to get the runner to go, and the foul. Just when the Sharks looked like they had a turnover, it came into the hands of Nicole Gorman, who just said, I'm going to do it myself, and ran all the way from the halfway line into the basket. And they're going to get Grant for her 4th foul. So now that's 3 Sharks with 4. Slayton, Sprouse, and Grant all have 4 fouls. And it's going to be an and 1 opportunity for Nicole Gorman. Checking in quickly for Lake Mary Prep, Kaylee Espada. And she replaced Dakota Hanslet. And 1 coming for Gorman. 2 bounces with the right hand, steps into it, and hits the freebie. And it is 43-11, 7:28 to go in the in the ball game. It's the 4th quarter. Walking forward with it is Ashton Grant for the Sharks. Hands it right-hand side to Jones. Jones harassed by Espada. Now steps into a 3 as she spun past Espada. Offensive rebound grabbed by Ronzio, and then a jump ball called. The possession arrow favors Lake Mary. I'll tell you what, Madison Ronzio is going to be big for this Sharks team this year, as she has pulled down some impressive rebounds against players much taller than her so far tonight. And of course, Aaliyah Jones has scored 6 of the 11 Shark points tonight. Couple of passes in the backcourt, and into the front court now comes Gorman, as she had the ball knocked out of her hands into the bench of Lake Mary. So they'll just inbound, gets it quickly to Wynn. Wynn double teamed as the ball stripped from behind by Ashton Grant. Grant tried to throw it up to Ronzio, and the ball's turned over. Wynn off of the scrum, puts up a right hand layup, is good. Jandy Wynn takes advantage of some scrappy play and has an open layup to push the lead to 45-11 for Lake Mary Prep. Grant travels with the basketball before she stepped into a 3. It was way off the mark, and it's going to be Lake Mary Prep ball. Into the game for the Griffins comes Gianna DiGiacomo. A couple of more coming in as well. Carolina Hubbard, the top scorer of the ball game, checks back in, as well as Michelle Mardanzi. Lake Mary Prep's going to inbound right in front of the Sharks bench to listeners left. It's going to go into Carolina Hubbard. Dickerson has checked back in for Atlantic as well. Hubbard fires the ball over everybody's head and out of bounds. Was trying to get it to Nicole Gorman, who was standing at the right-hand corner, and the ball looked like it went out of the open door here at the Shark Tank that leads to the rest of the school. Sharks control with Grant, crosses the time stripe, 6:21 to go ball game. And she's going to walk with it again. It's just careless play from the Sharks. And it goes back to what I mentioned right at the top of the broadcast. Fundamentals. Chase travels, these double dribbles. And again, this time they leave Hubbard wide open on an inbounds pass. She drives the lane. Her layup is no good, but she'll go to the line to shoot 2. It's got to be simple assignment basketball. 23 is who the foul's on. That's Grant. That's 5, and she is gone. And fouling out of the ball game is Ashton Grant, who's been the primary point guard for the Sharks tonight. And 4 Sharks are going to check in. Let's see. Ivy is checked in for the Sharks. Livingston has come in. Sprouse has come in. She's got 4 fouls, so she's got to be careful. And so Aaliyah Jones is the only Shark that remains on the floor. The first of a 2-shot penalty for Carolina Hubbard is missed. This is only her 2nd trip to the line, and that's her first missed free throw of the ball game. .6:14 to go in the ball game. Hubbard with a 2nd free throw. This one, she hits it to make the score 46-11. And a bit of confusion as nobody went to receive the inbounds pass from Essence Wallace. Now finally Neray Ivy steps to the ball, and Wallace will dribble it up the court. Wallace switches to her left hand, dribbles it off her foot, and it gets into the hands of Hubbard. or excuse me, that was Matroni, and then Matroni traveled, double dribbles, excuse me, across the time stripe and gives the ball back to Atlantic. Excuse me, I was wrong again. That was DiGiacomo, as now Matroni has come into the game, replacing Emily Sanchez. Sharks inbounding right on the halfway stripe across from the scorer's table, which is where the scorer's table used to be. Last season, we were over on what is now the far side of the gym, and now we are sitting here on the near side of the gym near the door. Controlling is Aaliyah Jones for the Sharks. Lake Mary Prep in the 2-3 zone that they've been in all day. Ball comes to the left-hand corner for Janae Livingston. Livingston trying to work out of a double team, hands the ball to Essence Wallace. Wallace loses the handle, gets it back by diving on the floor, tries to find somebody to pass it to, and eventually just has the ball tied up out of her hands by Leilani Barnes. And it's going to be Sharks basketball. 4:45 to go as now the running clock has hit as the score has reached a 35-point margin. Essence Wallace throws the ball up to Jones. Jones retreats back to the Atlantic logo at midcourt and will run the offense with 4:30 to go and counting. Jones, nobody on her. As she steps to the line, the crowd wants her to shoot. She does. It's off the back iron, no good. Offensive rebound grab by by Sprouse. She puts it back up, but not before she travels. Essence Wallace just got spun around by Carolina Hubbard. Hubbard drives, throws it under the basket. Whistle and a foul is going to be called. Oh no, it's going to just be out of bounds. And it's going to be, oh no, it is going to be shots. And they're going to get Ivy with the foul. That's her first. And it'll be double bonus for the Griffins. So at the line for two is Leilani Barnes. Barnes, no points tonight, is 0 for 4 from the free throw line. Her first free throw, this one, swish, it's good. Lepping, 2 bounces of the ball. And the second one is also swish and good. So, excuse me, that was Barnes. Now has 2 points on the night, 2 made free throws. 2:55 to go and counting on the running clock here at the Shark Tank Gymnasium. 48-11, the Griffins lead the Sharks. Controlling at the top is Aaliyah Jones. Jones just fires a wild 3, misses everything, and goes out of bounds. It'll be Lake Mary Prep ball. Once again tomorrow, a doubleheader right here on MJT Sports Productions and live from the Shark Tank, as the Atlantic girls basketball team takes on the University Titans at 5 p.m. and the boys look to keep their undefeated start to the season going as they take on former Atlantic head coach and the Del Tono Wolves. Controlling the ball for Lake Mary Prep is Nicole Gorman. She's guarded one-on-one by Aaliyah Jones. Backtracks all the way towards the scorer's table, and a whistle and a 5-second violation is going to be called against Gorman, and it'll give the ball to Atlantic. Essence Wallace to inbound, now under 2 minutes to go, and I think the Sharks are just looking for one more basket to try and raise the roof on the building. Aaliyah Jones stands at the top dribbling. Bounce pass left-hand side, Essence Wallace has it. Wallace into a double team, that's Livingston. Livingston in the left-hand corner looking for a pass. She finds Jones, and Jones will reset with 1:23 to go. Gorman now steps up to guard the shot on Jones. Jones tries to throw it back to the left-hand corner for Livingston, and it goes off her foot and out of bounds. Ball back to Lake Mary Prep. Henriette Lepping and Mardanzi and Wynn all check back in for Lake Mary Prep. 57 seconds to go. This could be the last possession of the game. So the Griffins will move to 1-3. Coming up next for Lake Mary Prep, they've got the old coach of the Atlantic Sharks, George Butts, and the Cavalry Christian Lions on the 3rd. Then on the 7th, they travel to Crooms Academy. And this is the second of 4 straight road games. Into the left-hand corner it goes. 3 on the way. 2 short from Gorman. The ball is batted in the air, retrieved by Essence Wallace, and she is going to be fouled as she tried to run the other way. And they're going to get Gorman for the foul. That's her second. Only 14 seconds to go in the ball game. Let's see if the Sharks can just get a shot up. 10 seconds left. The ball goes into the hands of Aaliyah Jones. Coming up next for the Sharks, of course, they play University tomorrow. 4 seconds left. Shooting a 3. Bank shot off the glass. No good from Janae Livingston. And that is the end of the ball game. The final score tonight, Lake Mary Prep Griffins 48, the Atlantic Sharks 11. A comprehensive win by Lake Mary Prep as they dominate the second half of play, holding Atlantic to just 4 points over the final 16 minutes. We'll take 30 seconds to tally the scoring totals. We'll be back with your post-game recap. This is MJT Sports Productions' broadcast of Atlantic Sharks basketball. The first game of the season for the Atlantic Sharks girls basketball team is in the books, and also the first game without head coach George Butts at the helm for 25 years is over. And the Lake Mary Prep Griffins have come to Port Orange and grabbed the victory. The final score, 48-11. The Griffins grab their first win on the year. They move to 1-3. The Sharks are now 0-1. Here are your final scoring totals. First for the Sharks, Aaliyah Jones, the top scorer for Atlantic, she has 6. Madison Ronzio has 3, and Serenity Martin had 2. And for the Lake Mary Prep Griffins, Carolina Hubbard has 23. Gorman has 11. Those are the 2 double-digit scores. Wynn had 7, and Matrone had 6, and Leilani Barnes had 2. Once again, your final score from the Shark Tank: Atlantic Sharks 11, Lake Mary Prep Griffins 48. Remember, doubleheader coming tomorrow. The girls will be on the court at 5 against the University Titans, and the boys will look to keep their undefeated start to the season going against the Deltona Wolves. Both of those games can be heard on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube right here on MJT Sports Productions. My name is Michael Trevillo, signing off for tonight. We will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening.